welcome to the um, welcome to the welcome to this Medicine Monday. Um, I am the Freedom Doctor, Roman Johnson, and today's topic is on love and loss, and it is a part of the series "Feelings Buried Never Die." They teach. So just as a short trigger warning, when we talk about love and loss, this topic may uncover some wounds for people. It's my intention that this is a safe place for you to use my experience as a mirror for your own, and you to do the internal work to investigate that feeling and do that wound unpacking and again, that wound investigation in your own time. So please be gentle with yourself. So I already know that this Medicine Monday will probably be shorter than the others. To be transparent with you, one way that I've been trying to make this show better is just writing out my thoughts in a structured way so that I can make the most impact on people and also be mindful of my own time capacity to work this thing out. So let's actually see how long this show is. Let's go with the spirit in this, and let's do it like that. So what is love? I'm gonna play this song for you all that really puts me into the spirit of this topic, and you'll begin to see why as I unpack it for you. It is "What Is Love" by the Trinidadian singer Haddaway. I'm just gonna play a bit of this. So I don't own this copyrighted material. It is not my intention to infringe upon any copyright rights or laws. What is love? We don't Okay, I really that was great, right? So I really want to jump into this topic and really really delve into this topic well. So for me, when I listen to this song, like I'm really thinking about the ways that we put our heart out there, and we have all these expectations, and I'm going to ground that little note and into the lesson I want to bring to y'all today. So what is love? What is love? For me, love is the main experience. It's that main experience behind connection. And when we think about love, like we have all these ideas because like we live in a society that has, for example, like these Judeo-Christian notions of love. That love, for example, is being patient. Love is uh, a long suffering. It's kind. It's not envious. It's slow to boast. However, in constructing my own spirituality, I have to make a definition that works for me. And so I want to help you by showing you how I think about love so that you can form your own definitions of love, and you can unpack the blockages that you have to love. I want to continue in this thought that we have all these societal ideas about love, and because of that, some of the ways we think about love are conflicts. Like there are these dueling concepts of love we carry. For example, there's a popular idea that love is the absence of fear. And I say to that statement, really? Um, in one of my favorite books, and actually is where I got the title for this speaking series about feelings. Feelings buried alive, never die, by Carol Thurman. Thurman talks about love as being the as being something done in the absence of fear. And again, I say to that, really, if that is where I am, then that is okay. But how can I use my power to help me focus on love, even if I am fearful? How can I love anyway, even as I'm fearful, and get to a place of freedom in this? And I think one way that we can love despite those feelings of discomfort or pain or unsureness is to honor the fact that the fear exists even as we try to love, and to allow ourselves to experience that fear and not erase that, because that fear is also teaching us about what we want to safeguard for ourselves and what is important for us. And we want to focus that energy instead of trying to remove that fear, on actually that love that we are trying to experience for ourselves, so we can access that love or manifest that love. For me, love is the main experience of what it feels like when we give our hearts to someone or something. I just talked about Truman in her book, Feelings Buried, Never, uh, Feelings Buried Alive, Never Die. She presents love as this thing without fear. And in Hathaway's song, What is Love, one of the lyrics that is sticks out to me in that short minute we listened to is that the singer was saying that, I love, but you're not there. I love, basically, but there's this experience of rejection that I fear, or that is actually happening, that I don't want to happen. So really, I feel like to be in the world and not fear as we love is something that is not really all the way grounded in the human experience. Instead, I think we have to sit with that fear and love despite the fear, and know that the rejection or the hurt in our loving will happen. Because for me, that is how we claim our power, not by trying to make reality one thing, but to be open to all of what reality can be, and be open to all of what love can be in that same way. And yes, you may be saying, oh, this is really hard. Like, some people have really done me wrong, and I will also say that while that is true, I feel like there is a freedom and a way of being beyond the hurt that we inhabit from our past experiences. As long as we're in the past of what has happened, we can't really say truly that that thing is happening in the present, especially as some of these experiences we've had are years ago. So how is it empowering us to make our lives around that past experience, in terms of like what love can be for us and where we want to go with love, if we're also allow ourselves to be defined by those past experiences with someone or something. Um, so is my belief that we can love even as we feel the fear. So we can surpass that feeling of fear to a love that is more free of that baggage of expectation. Because that is what's actually happening. If we slow ourselves down enough to see in our feeling experience that when we're approaching, for example, a new lover that we may want to know, that we are expecting our lover, our future lover, that is, to, or yeah, our future lover, like the love that we want in the future, right? To receive us in a way that we would like, then that's going to bring fear because that is built on the expectation of them receiving us in a particular way. So, for example, in the singer, the singer that we were listening to, had today, if you're just joining the talk, was like, like, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me no more. So even as the singer is thinking about love, they're also thinking about the hurt that they don't want. So they're not really open to receiving the love that is because they're actually focused on the past experience. So I said I was not gonna sing for real for y'all, and I'm going to commit to that because I need my anxiety to stay at a certain level about this, and and be just where I am. Um, on that, I want to also, I'm still talking about like loving without the expectation of receiving what we want. I feel like when we do that, we're opening ourselves to new possibilities of what the love could be. So maybe, for example, this person that we want to love us, it doesn't have to be romantic. It can be platonic. You know, we want them to love us in a certain way so we can feel validated. But again, I'm going to ask us, if that person does not love us how we want us to love us, will we be trapped in that expectation? I would bargain to say that often we are trapped in that expectation. And I know this has been the case for me. And just really quickly, I'll tell a short anecdote. So for me, in just dealing with love myself, I'm a person that is a late bloomer when it comes to love romantically. In my recent attempt to love someone, that relationship was like a year. And what I learned was that I have an expectation that this person will be someone who can acknowledge their shortcomings and change in a way that is quick enough for me. In that, if the change is taking too long, I feel like the story I had was that they're not committed to changing for the better, and that is not something that I want to deal with. And so really what I'm saying is that I was very impatient. And then I also realized that there were some shortcomings about myself that I wasn't ready to admit to myself at the time. And so for me, that is one reason why that love experience didn't work. I came with the expectation already that this person needed to be more mature than what they actually were. And so in that expectation, I set myself up to be disappointed. And that is why I believe that it's really important to unpack what we're bringing to love so that we can avoid disappointment. Not that we avoid hurt, because hurt is is something that imperfect people do. We will all experience hurt because we are interacting with someone who has the same imperfection as us. But that imperfection can be a teaching moment too, which is something I'll jump in later as I continue to talk to you. So as it relates to love and being open hearted, when I am really in that in like when I'm really in that experience of love, I'm open hearted, right? I'm not looking for what it could be. I'm just trying to offer the love I have to give, and I'm in my power of knowing that, I'm giving love and as an exercise because I'm loving. And, it becomes less about like my ego's need to be validated in a specific way. And what I mean by that open hearted experience that I'm in is that I am trying to bring that connection to a person that like grows me up or allows me to be in a space of vulnerability, in a space of risk. Because I feel like when I am risking something, then I am really going, I'm really putting myself out there in a way where my heart can grow. And knowing that I can be hurt is not a hindrance, it's actually a helper for me to grow instead of being a blockage for me to love. One other thing I want to talk about, I want to talk about, I want to talk about in relationship to love that will be a good segue point to loss is pain. Um, as someone who has faced rejection, as someone whose story was really shaped by emotional abuse and verbal abuse, I'm clear that when we are loving people, um, we do not or should not allow ourselves to become a victim of anybody's abuse. In fact, that we should stand up for ourselves and remind ourselves in that standing up that we're valuable. So in this message, I don't want to be, I don't want to be mistaken that I don't want people to stay or try to love anybody who's abusing them in any way, whether that is emotional abuse, physical abuse, spiritual abuse, verbal abuse, whatever. I want you, if you're listening to this segment, this talk, to get out of that abusive situation and tend to your heart and recover your heart and your sense of self and your power by leaving. I want you to do that. But I do want to talk about the pain of the wound that holds us down from loving. Finally, I want to say about this is that finally, the thing I want to say about this is that pain is inseparable from love because pain is the pain. I feel like sometimes is the effect of what it means to open our heart wider than what we're comfortable with, and that will cause some emotional pain. For example, like if I'm a person who previously was living a type of a being or existence where when I love people, it was something that I needed them to validate me in my loving. Like I would give, for example, a real example is if I'm calling someone to say, "Oh, I love you," if they didn't say, they love me or they didn't notice that, I was reaching out to them, I could feel hurt or pain. because behind all of that, I was doing this thing to show to them and really to show to myself that, you know, that this connection means something to me. And um in, you know, the pain is really like, because this uh connection means something to me, then it should be a certain way. And I feel like that again is the expectation when we you know, we have this truth that we have a relationship, and then the expectation that this relationship should be a certain way, then that goes the emotional pain that can occur. Not that this expectation is wrong, like expectation is neither wrong or right. We just have to communicate the type of the expectations we have to that person, so they know what we're bringing and they know whether, or they can decide whether they want to engage in that expectation or not. Because often in our relationships, in our love relationships, we bring unstated expectations and we get angry with people for not being able to meet those expectations that they didn't know about in the first place. So this element of pain is a good segue to our this last section about loss. So when I think about loss, it's not just the loss of people that can impact our our emotional wellspring, our place of power to feel, right? It's also a loss of situation, a loss of status, a loss of living environment. Loss for me happens when there's a change in the status of someone or something. Loss teaches us that who we came into this world as was separate from that situation or person, and to appreciate whatever that situation or person was, that they try to teach us about our purpose in this life. So, for example, we feel lost, for example, when we experience um, the great separation of a loved one from this life to the next. For example, we may feel lost when we lose our grandmother, who we had, you know, we had early bonds with, someone who nurtured us, someone who, excuse me, I'm, thinking a bit too fast. We experience loss when we, for example, lose a loved one, for example, a grandmother, and that loss happens because that person made us feel loved, they made us feel supported, they made us feel special in ways probably that, you know, other people in our life, you know, didn't may not have done in the way that grandma or grandfather or auntie or mama or daddy, for example, did. But we have to realize that we came into this world with a single purpose, and that while we have these connections in our physical life, that these people didn't, that these people came in this existence separate from us. You know, even if we have a twin, which I do, we still came into existence at a separate time, you know, as far as like consciousness and purpose, you know. So one of the I feel like I want to talk about my experience like with love and, you know, breaking up and how that situation didn't work. And I'm going to talk about that briefly because, you know, the time is drawing near. But for me, one thing that I think about as far as loss when that situation is coming up is that for me, what I feel like I lost in that experience is really something based in ego. Like I felt like I lost that person who was committed to helping that person heal. And that was all ego because I set myself up as the healer or someone who can help, a person out with whatever their addiction or was, and that really is related to my own trauma, my own wounding of having to be more responsible than I probably should have been for others, like emotional well-being in an abusive family, abusive upbringing, verbally and emotionally. So, my wounding was telling me in something that I'm learning to grow beyond, that I have to be responsible. I have to help someone, even if it's minor, get to a place of healing. When as a partner, that's an agreement that you can make or not make, and I have to be honest with myself about the places where I was allowing for that misperception or that illusion of that the wounding was causing in my life to happen. And now that I know that agreement was made, I can unpack it and I can reclaim my power. I can tell that wounding that I don't have to be anything that I don't agree. I don't have to be over responsible for other people's lives. I can just focus on my own healing and attract people who are in that same vibration of healing. That I don't have to settle for less in any way, I don't have to settle for anyone or any situation that is beneath my level of vibrational beingness. Um, so that was a tongue twister. So yeah, so I want to leave us with this. As we love, let's not love in expectation, but let's love in power. As we love, let's try to love in a way that's not dictated by woundedness, by the wounded, by the wounding that we have experienced in our lives. Can we be different in our loving? Can we be different in how we redefine what loss means to us? I think we can. And, one way that I'm redefining loss and love to me is just by being more gentle and slower with how I engage in those experiences, and really be reflectful of of how I want to be. What could we be if we got past our wounding when it comes to love and loss? If we got past our wounding, I think we could be imperfect and powerful. Why imperfect? Because as long as we are walking through this life, we're learning. And there'll always be a part of us that is not perfect. As we learn, as we smooth those rough edges of our hearts and our lives, and go within ourselves and sort out that imperfection. As we accept our imperfections, we see our imperfections as a source of power. Like someone who I really love reminded me recently this week. As long as we know that anytime we love, we can experience hurt, we can maintain our power to shift our life in response to that hurt, which can empower us instead of debilitate us. We can ask that hurt to teach us. We can say to hurt, What have you come to teach me about me today? What have you come to teach me about life? When we tap into our power and redefine what love and loss will mean to us, and all of the imperfections of us that we contend with daily, life can be a bit more easy and a lot more sweet. Thank you for coming to Medicine Monday. Thank you for walking with me on the subject of love and loss. And I hope that you get your healing. And together, let's be free. Let's get free, y'all. This is the freedom. This is, this is Medicine Monday with the Freedom Doctor. Have a great one. Peace.